The inflation can be defined as a rise in prices that results in a loss of purchasing power over time. The average price increase of a basket of selected goods and services over time can reflect the rate at which purchasing power declines. The increase in prices, which is often expressed as a percentage, means that a unit of currency buys less than it did previously. Inflation is distinguished from deflation, which occurs when prices fall while purchasing power rises. Hello guys, welcome to A Vital Understanding Inflation. While it is simple to track the price changes of individual products over time, human needs extend beyond just one or two products. Individuals require a wide range of products and services to live a comfortable life. They include commodities such as food grains, metals, and fuel, utilities such as electricity and transportation, and services such as healthcare, entertainment, and labor. Inflation measures the overall impact of price changes for a diversified set of goods and services. It enables a single value representation of the increase in the price level of goods and services in an economy over time. Prices rise, which means that one unit of money buys fewer goods and services. This loss of purchasing power raises the cost of living for the general public, resulting in a slowing of economic growth. Economists agree that sustained inflation occurs when a country's money supply growth outpaces economic growth. To combat this, the monetary authority manages the money supply and credit in order to keep inflation within acceptable limits and the economy running smoothly. Because the money supply expanded rapidly, the value of money fell, contributing to rapidly rising prices. Inflation is measured in a variety of ways based on the type of products and services. It is the inverse of deflation, which occurs when the inflation rate goes below 0%. Keep in mind that deflation should not be confused with disinflation, a similar term referring to a reduction of the positive rate of inflation. What causes inflation? Inflation is caused by an increase in the supply of money, which can manifest itself through various mechanisms in the economy. The monetary authorities of a country can increase the country's money supply by more money is being printed and distributed to citizens, devaluing or lowering the value of the legal tender currency, creating new money as reserve account credits through the banking system by purchasing government bonds on the secondary market from banks. In all of these cases, the money loses purchasing power. There are three types of mechanisms that drive inflation: demand-pull inflation, cost-push inflation, and built-in inflation. First one is demand-pull effect. Demand-pull inflation occurs when an increase in the supply of money and credit causes overall demand for goods and services to rise faster than the economy's capacity to produce them. This increases demand and drives up prices. Consumer sentiment improves when people have more money. This, in turn, leads to increased spending, which drives up prices. It causes a demand-supply imbalance, with higher demand and less flexible supply, resulting in higher prices. Second one is cost-push effect. Cost-push inflation is caused by price increases in the manufacturing process inputs. When additions to the supply of money and credit are channeled into a commodity or other asset markets, costs for all kinds of intermediate goods rise. This is especially evident when there's a negative economic shock to the supply of key commodities. These developments raise the cost of the finished product or service, which in turn raises consumer prices. For example, expanding the money supply causes a speculative boom in oil prices. This means that the cost of energy can rise and contribute to rising consumer prices, as measured by various inflation measures. The last one is built-in inflation. Built-in inflation is linked to adaptive expectations or the belief that current inflation rates will continue in the future. People may expect a similar rate of increase in the future as the price of goods and services rises. As a result, workers may demand higher prices or wages in order to maintain their standard of living. Their higher wages raise the cost of goods and services, and the wage price spiral continues as one factor induces the other and vice versa. How is inflation measured? Inflation is measured by the inflation rate, and it is measured in almost every country. The inflation rate is a measure of the general price increase or rate of increase of selected goods and services over a given time period. Inflation is typically measured and reported as a percentage, and also can indicate a decline in the purchasing power or value of a nation's currency. Multiple types of baskets of goods are calculated and tracked as price indexes based on the selected set of goods and services. How is the inflation rate calculated? The inflation rate is typically calculated using the formula. The formula requires the starting point in the consumer price index for a specific good or service and the current recording in the Consumer Price Index for the same good or service. Subtract the two numbers to find the difference. This difference represents the amount by which the Consumer Price Index for the specific good or service has risen. Divide those figures from the starting price. This will result in a decimal. Multiply this number by 100 to get the percentage. This will give you the inflation rate. The Consumer Price Index. Consumer Price Index is calculated by examining the average prices of a hypothetical basket of goods and services purchased by consumers. Price changes of each item are taken and then averaged. These goods and services include everyday foods such as milk, cereal, and coffee. However, the basket of goods does not only include food items but also other items that consumers must purchase such as transportation costs, housing costs, clothing, recreational expenses, toys, furniture, haircuts, tobacco, and medical expenses. The recordings and reporting of prices per item are completed by the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics every month in the United States, and similarly, in other countries. Calculations and reports are done by institutions dedicated to calculations and statistics. CPI changes are used to evaluate changes in expenses associated with the cost of living and serve as quantifiable information to determine periods of inflation and deflation for the economy. The Consumer Price Index is calculated by dividing the cost of goods or services in the current period or current price by the cost of goods or services in the previous period or base price and multiplying by 100. Let's look at an example. First, we need to know how much of each good was purchased each year and what the prices were. As previously mentioned in this video, we generally use selected goods and services to calculate. As an example, suppose the prices in selected goods and services in the year 2000 were as follows. Burgers were $1.40 units, jeans were $25.02 units, and movie tickets were $5.04 units. The total expenditure is $110, which includes $40 for hamburgers, $50 for jeans, and $20 for movie tickets. In 2020, we have new prices: hamburgers $1.5, jeans $33, and movie tickets $7. Assume that the market basket or amount purchased in 2000 unchanged in 2020, just with prices changing. What will that market basket cost in 2020? The application: prices in 2020 and quantities in 2000. The total cost in 2020 is $154, which includes $60 for hamburgers, $66 for jeans, and $28 for movie tickets. To calculate the CPI in any year, divide the cost of the current year's market basket by the cost of the same market basket in the base year. The CPI in 2000 is equal to $110 divided by $110 and multiplied by 100. The answer is 100. The CPI is simply an index value that is set to 100 in the base year, in this case, year 2000. To calculate the CPI in 2020, compare the cost of a market basket in 2020 to the same basket in 2000. The CPI in 2020 is equal to $154 divided by $110 and multiplied by 100. The CPI is 140. Now, we can calculate the inflation rate between 2000 and 2020. When the difference of current and base CPI is 40, divided by base CPI 100 and multiplied by 100, the inflation rate is 40%. Some countries calculate several price indexes in addition to CPI. For example, the Wholesale Price Index and Producer Price Index are widely used. In all variants, a price increase in one component may partially offset a price decrease in another. Overall, each index represents the average weighted price change for the given constituents, which may apply at the overall economy, sector, or commodity level. What are the effects of inflation? Inflation can affect the economy in a number of ways. For example, if a country's currency falls due to inflation, this can benefit exporters by making their goods more affordable when priced in foreign currencies. On the other hand, this could hurt importers by raising the cost of imported goods. Higher inflation can also encourage spending because consumers will want to buy goods before their prices rise further. Savers, on the other hand, may see the real value of their savings erode, limiting their ability to spend or invest in the future. Inflation can't be interpreted as either a good or a bad thing. It depends upon which side one takes and how rapidly the change occurs. In general, too much inflation is considered harmful to an economy, while too little inflation is also considered harmful. Many economists advocate for low to moderate annual inflation rates of around 2% per year. Extreme examples of inflation. Since all world currencies are fiat money, the money supply could expand rapidly for political reasons, resulting in rapid price increases. The most famous example is the hyperinflation that struck the German Weimar Republic in the early 1920s. The victorious nations in World War I demanded reparations from Germany, which could not be paid in German paper currency due to government borrowing, which was of suspect value. Germany attempted to print paper notes, exchange them for foreign currency, and use the proceeds to pay their debts. This policy resulted in the rapid depreciation of the German mark, as well as the accompanying hyperinflation. German consumers reacted to the cycle by spending their money as quickly as possible, knowing that it would be worth less and less the longer they waited. As money is flowing into the economy, its value plummeted to the point where people would cover their walls with practically worthless bills. Similar incidents occurred in Peru in 1990 and Zimbabwe from 2007 to 2008. Thank you for spending your valuable time with us. We're so glad you did, and if you enjoyed this one, please give us a like. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon to never miss a video. See you next time.